Then Sports Central, we go over a college football game preview and prediction on a big rivalry matchup coming up here in Week 13 of this 2022 college football season. And this compared with the Florida Gators and the Florida State Seminoles. Huge matchup for both these teams coming up here in Week 13. You got Florida, who is 6-5 on the season. This team has been a bit of a disappointment this season. And despite being a very talented team, they've just been very inconsistent. But they've got a great chance here to face off against a good Florida State team. The Seminoles are having their best season since 2016. And this is a huge opportunity for the Seminoles to have a 9-win regular season and head into bowl season on a high note. So, crucial one for both these teams coming up here in Week 13. We'll be going over a full game preview and prediction on this match period today, starting with your team trends. Florida lost to Vanderbilt 24-31. A very disappointing loss there for the Gators. Obviously, Vanderbilt is a team that, if you're an SEC team, you just can't lose to them, and Vanderbilt has now won 2 straight SEC games. First time in forever that has happened, and suddenly Vanderbilt is a 5-win team. But I mean, for Florida, they're 6-5. They're bowl eligible, but they're 3-5 in conference. And this is a talented team once again. Their ceiling was fairly high. I think going into the season, I didn't think Florida was going to be a big SEC contender, but you could say that they have disappointed a bit to this point. But Florida State on the other side, they have definitely surprised some, and in a good way. This team beat Louisiana 49-17 in their last game, so a solid win there against Louisiana. They won 4 straight heading into this matchup, and they're 8-3 on the season, 5-3 in ACC play. And once again, as I said before, this is the best season for Florida State since 2016. I mean, that's the last time that this team got 8 wins plus, as they got 10 wins that season. And obviously, if you look back, it wasn't too long ago that this team won a national championship. That was back in 2013. That was a 2013 season that they won. And I mean, this team has fallen off a bit the past few years, but this season really shows potential for the future with Florida State. And obviously, going up against your rival in Florida, this is a great opportunity right now for Florida State. Games be on Friday, November 25th, Black Friday, Tallahassee, Florida. And your kickoff is 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Spread's going Florida State by 9.5. Over-under is 58. And the FPI is going Florida State as well, 76.9%. So the Seminoles are favored by just about a touchdown and a field goal for this one, which you could say isn't terribly surprising. Night game in Tallahassee. Florida State has been the better team this season. It makes sense. Series history, Florida leads at 37-26. Gators have won the past 3 against Florida State, and they've also won 3 out of the past 5. So Florida State has won some games in recent history, even though Florida does lead the overall series. Stat comparison for this one, Florida's main strength, you could say, is in the rushing game. This team is 17th in the country in rush yards a game, and this team has got 3 main rushers here. You got Montrell Johnson, who's rushed for 800 yards, 10 touchdowns on the season. You got Anthony Richardson, the quarterback, who's rushed a lot. Trevor Etienne has rushed plenty as well. So this is a strong backfield here with Florida. But otherwise, this team is pretty average, I'll be honest here. They're 51st in points per game, 76th in points allowed. They're 87th in passers a game. Then for yards allowed, 77th in passing, 93rd in rushing. And Florida State all around is just a more solid team statistically. They're 21st in points per game, 14th in points allowed. They are 37th in passers a game, 23rd in rush yards. So, I mean, this is a team that's got a better quarterback, just straight up. I mean, Jordan Travis is a better passer than Anthony Richardson is. But then again, Richardson is also an outstanding rusher. As I mentioned before, he's rushed for like 600 yards this season and 9 touchdowns. So he is a talented rusher, that's for sure, even though his passing has been less than impressive this season. But yeah, for Florida State, I mean, they're a strong team in the passing and the rushing. They got plenty of weapons offensively. You got Benson, who's rushed for 850 yards on the season, 6 touchdowns. So this is a strong team. And I mean, one of the main strengths is in the passing defense, where this team is ranked 5th in the country there. So this is a strong team in the defensive secondary, only allowing 155 yards a game there. But you got to consider too, you're going up against a Florida team that their main way of scoring points is in the rushing game. So you can't underestimate this backfield and the rushing game for Florida. And I mean, you've got a great passing defense. You should have Anthony Richardson contained fairly easy in the passing game. It's just the rushing game that you're going to have to be worried about in this game, that's for sure. But your recent matches, Florida lost to Vanderbilt 24-31. That's obviously a stunning loss. Just can't lose to Vanderbilt. And for Florida, it's just been an inconsistent season, just to say it simply. I mean, this is a Gator team that's talented. They've just been very inconsistent. They beat South Carolina 38-6. I mean, South Carolina just beat Tennessee 63-38, literally like just last week, and Florida beat them the week before 38-6. And this is why we love college football. But yeah, Florida also beat Texas A&M 41-24. They lost to Georgia the week before that, 20-42. Lost to LSU 35-45. And as for Florida State, they beat Louisiana 49-17. Beat Syracuse 38-3. Syracuse has really fallen off down the stretch. They beat Miami 45-3. Beat Georgia Tech 41-16. Lost to Clemson by 6, 28-34. So this is a solid Florida State team. Once again, this is the best team we've seen out of Florida State in some time. Key points for this one: Florida 6-5. Gators are talented but extremely inconsistent. They've got a strong rushing game. Once again, you got that trio of Montrell Johnson, Anthony Richardson, Etienne. It's a strong backfield here with Florida, and that's the main way that they can attack Florida State. And so the Seminoles got to be ready for that. And this is a down season, but this is a great opportunity here for Florida State to get up to 7 wins. I know it's been a disappointing season, but I mean, going up against your rival in Florida State, who's having a great season, what a great opportunity for Florida here, going up against your rival that's having a good season, and take them down. That'd make your season feel a little bit better, that's for sure. But as for the Seminoles, they've improved down the stretch. They've only improved over the course of the season, being 8-3 right now and ranked number 16 in the AP poll. We'll see where they're ranked in the college football playoff rankings coming out on Tuesday night, but I would assume that Florida State's probably going to be 16, 17-ish. Maybe you could put them in the top 15 as well. So we'll see where they stand there, but they've got the home field advantage, and this is a team that getting up to 9 wins here. I mean, it could be a 9-3 season for Florida State. That puts you in a pretty good bowl game if you're the Seminoles. So it's a great opportunity here for Florida State. But that said, let's get to the prediction here for Florida and Florida State coming up here in Week 13. And I'm going with the Seminoles. 34-27 is your predicted final score. I just think Florida State, I mean, I just can't comfortably pick Florida right now. I mean, they're coming off of a brutal loss to Vanderbilt, but for all we know, the way that this team is inconsistent, they could come out and blow out Florida State at this point. I mean, they just beat South Carolina less than a couple of weeks ago, 38-6, before losing to Vanderbilt on the road by a touchdown. So you never know what you're going to get out of Florida. This could be a great team. This could be a terrible team in this matchup. We'll see which Florida comes out and plays, but I do feel more comfortable picking Florida State, a team that's won 4 straight, one of the hottest teams in the ACC, maybe even in the country right now. So I'm going to go with Florida State 34-27, but I do see the Gators hanging around and potentially making this a battle. But I'll say 55% towards Florida State, over under 58. Give me the over for this one, and Florida to cover the spread in the end, which is currently 9.5 points towards Florida State. So we'll see how that shifts over the course of the week. But I do want to go Florida State or 34-27. I mean, you could maybe say Gators are just as talented of a team, but once again, it's just the inconsistencies the Gators that we've seen this season that does concern me. And so I'm going to go with Florida State to win this one. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this matchup. And I appreciate you guys watching as always. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. Catch you on the next one.